As the United States withdraws its troops from parts of Africa, Russia is seizing the opportunity to expand its military footprint on the continent. Russia plans to establish a naval logistics center in Port Sudan on the country's Red Sea coast under a new agreement made public this week. It will be Russia's first military base in Africa since the collapse of the Soviet Union. The 25-year deal comes with an option to renew it for another 10 years. The base will be manned by up to 300 military and civilian personnel, and Russia's Navy will be allowed to keep up to 4 ships at a time at the base, including nuclear-powered vessels. But Russia's security ties on the continent extend beyond that. They are believed to involve the use of private mercenary groups that are linked to top officials in Moscow and are being used in countries like the Central African Republic, Mozambique, and Madagascar. Now let's bring in Khalil Charles, who is a deputy news editor here at TRT World. He's been reporting all year on Sudan. He joins me from Istanbul. Thank you so much for joining us, Khalil. Now tell me, how significant is this deal for both countries?
Well, of course, Russia, which was once under the Soviet Union, had some prominence in the region before. It was part of the military support to the communist regime of Mengistu Haile Mariam when that was operating in Ethiopia and also in Eritrea, and also had quite a presence in South Yemen as well. So apart from the base that it has in Syria, in Latakia, this will be the first base in that region for the Russians in Africa. So it's quite important for them in the sense that it will be an opportunity to have presence in that area, which will mean that the big players like United States of America, like China, and indeed like Turkey, will be squeezed out of that area. And I think that's what their main objective is, to have some kind of presence within that area and also open the doors up to other things in Africa. Now, for Sudan, it means that a country which has been in war for 30 years, it's depleted its resources when it comes to the military. It's desperately indeed to get away from the sanctions that have prevented it from establishing itself. And so, therefore, it's going to be a chance for this agreement. Russia's not going to pay any rent for the military base. It's going to provide Sudan with the weapons that it needs and with the military regeneration of the military.
But who stands to benefit from Russia's renewed diplomatic and military push in Africa, though? Given the link with mercenaries deployed in several African countries, and there have been concerns that there might also be some very shady deals going on in some countries?
Well, Sudan is seen by Russia as the key to Africa, and therefore the other kind of extra activities that Russia's involved in may become easy if they have a military base on Sudanese soil. But we also know that countries like the United Arab Emirates are happy to have Russia on board in that area, and because it's likely to be able to help them in terms of the moves they have and the intentions they have towards Libya, as well as the separatist nature of the United Arab Emirates support for the separatist movement in Yemen, in South Yemen in particular. So there are people who are going to benefit from this, not just the Russians, but I think in terms of the region, there'll be other countries of the Gulf who will also be pleased to have the Russian presence there. Quite the opposite to the Iranian presence when the Sudanese were formerly very close to the Iranians, and the Iranians had submarines and other kinds of military equipment in the Red Sea at that stage.
Well, the deal comes just a month after the Trump administration announced it would remove Sudan from its state sponsors of terrorism blacklist. What do you make of the timing? And by the way, Sudan is still on that list.
Yes, indeed, it's still on the list, and hopefully they're saying that Congress will look at it this week and try to lift that list. It's difficult to say what the connection is between the two, because this has been in the making for some years. In 2017, the former president of Sudan, President Omar Bashir, he went to Sochi to meet Vladimir Putin, and it was at that stage he asked him to get involved and bring a military base in Sudan. So that was back in 2017. Now, the reaction from Russia at that time wasn't particularly interesting. They didn't seem to be particularly interested, but they continued the negotiations. Now, we should also tell you that Russia has a nuclear plant, which has also been in the making and plans to put in Sudan as well. So the only thing that you could really say in terms of the timing, Russia could be keen before the coming of the new presidency of Joe Biden in the United States to be a player in the region and then to have a new dynamic across the whole of the Horn of Africa and indeed the beginning of the Gulf.
Well, thanks, Khalil Charles, our deputy news editor here at TRT World, for sharing your thoughts on that story. We'll definitely keep an eye on Russia's operation in that region. Thank you for watching. That's Africa Matters this week. Thanks for watching.